This is a video overview of this knife, and this knife is the Bark River Little Creek, and let's see if we can get that to show, in CPM 3V. This is the first Bark River I owned, and this is the first knife in CPM 3V that I've owned, and it's a really great stout little fixed blade. As you can see, it's very small. It barely fits in my hands. I can get a 3-finger grip, and if I had a lanyard on here, I could get a 4-finger grip. But here's the knife in comparison to standard Zippo. As you can see, it's pretty tiny. The blade steel is convex ground here on the edge. Let's see if I can get this to show up. See how it kind of rolls through as opposed to illuminating the whole thing at once? And if you look really carefully, let's see, there we go. There's not much, if any, of a cutting bevel. So the blade stock just comes right down to the edge, and it's at one continuous curve. The idea behind the convex ground blade is that it's going to hold up a little bit longer. Maybe a tougher chore to sharpen, but you can strop it and it'll bring the edge back. But it puts a lot more meat right behind the edge. And I think almost all or all Bark Rivers are convex ground. The knife has black linen micarta handles, and then it has a little bail here, and then a lanyard hole. Not exactly sure why they have both, but whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter. This is available in, I think they say like 85 different handle scales. They just have a ton of different materials at Bark River. Overall, I'm really pleased with the fit and finish on the knife. It's beautifully polished. Everything is flat. You can barely detect those screws. They're finger flush. And this is definitely finger flush here. I mean, there's nothing there. Even on your fingernail, you're not getting any resistance. It's just an incredibly smooth, polished, actually quite comfortable handle. One thing that I would note, and I haven't really had a chance to use this knife a whole lot, I got it a couple days ago, is that there's not much in the way of something to prevent your fingers from flying forward. And I'm not somebody that requires jimping, but this is a knife where maybe just a little bit of jimping or a bit more pronounced finger guard here would help. You're not going to be killing things with this knife, so the chance that you slide forward is pretty minimal. I think this is going to be like basically just like an either a small EDC fixed blade, which is how I'm going to carry it, or like a camp knife. In which case it will function very well. When I got it, my wife said, "Oh my gosh, it's a kitchen knife," and it does kind of look like a kitchen knife on steroids. It looks like a little paring knife with massively thick blade steel. The other thing that was really nice about this knife, and this knife wasn't terribly expensive, I got it at Knives Ship Free for 115 bucks, is it comes with an excellent leather sheath, which is already stained. My 4-year-old son, stained this in 2 days, because that's what 4-year-olds do. But the knife itself fits snugly in the sheath, and the sheath carries very well in the pocket. I haven't really had a chance to carry it on a belt loop, but I can't imagine it being that big of a hassle given how small it is. It's double stitched, as you can see, and then the leather is welded here on the side. It's a very rigid, and if you want to check, there's a drain hole in the pocket in the sheath, so that if gunk or water builds up in there, it'll just drain right out. The knife is very securely held in the sheath. I mean, it's not falling down anywhere. It's not going anywhere. So I really like the sheath. And oftentimes you get a fixed blade knife and the sheath sucks. This sheath is actually quite good. I really, really enjoy carrying the knife in the sheath, and I enjoy just dropping the whole thing in my pocket. It's a small knife. The blade is under 2.5 inches long, and the whole thing is under 6 inches long. But it's still pretty big. I mean, like if you think about it, you're carrying something that's the size of a or not a paramilitary, it's bigger than that. The size of a military, Spedico military in your pocket. And so just for a size comparison, here's the knife up against a CQC 6K from Kershaw. And as you can see, it's significantly bigger. And this is a pretty big knife. And this knife has a 3.25 inch blade. So it's this is a big knife, and when it's folded up, you obviously get a space savings. But this knife still isn't that big, and it's in part because it comes in this really nice flat sheath. I was worried that the sheath was going to be junky, but the sheath is actually nothing but great. So there are 4 rivets here, and you can pass cord through them. And there's, like I said, there's a little belt loop, and the stitching is really nice, high contrast stitching. It's double stitched. So this is the Bark River Little Creek in 3V. Oh, and a review of this knife is